And now, all of a sudden, this is all happening.
What's his name?
Christian Tobetcha.
Christian?
Please, I'm scared of him.
On the 3rd of April, 2022, Miami police received a terrifying phone call.
I can't feel my arm. I can't feel my arm. Oh, my boyfriend is dying of a stab. Ma'am, what is the address? 134 Northeast 7th Ave. Baby, I'm so sorry.
27-year-old Christian Toby Abumseli was bleeding out in his girlfriend's lap with a brutal stab wound to the chest. When police arrived, pools of blood were found all over the apartment, and Toby was barely clinging to life. OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney had met Toby back in 2020. The two seemed to be deeply in love, but behind closed doors, things were completely different. The couple were known to have violent fights, and the police were even called multiple times to their apartment. But their biggest argument would take place in April of 2022 and result in Toby bleeding out and begging for his life. Courtney told police she had nothing to do with it, but police thought differently. So she was brought in for questioning, and a 5-hour-long interrogation began.
My apologies for being absolutely covered in blood.
Listen, you don't have to apologize, okay? I completely understand. Alright? Things happen, and you can't control it. Okay? How long have you guys been together?
About 2 years.
About 2
A
years?
year and a half to 2 years, yeah.
Okay.
Is he okay?
He's still at the hospital. They're still,
I know.
monitoring him and talking to him. So we're waiting.
Oh my God! So he didn't even have to have surgery.
Well, I don't know. They're still doing X-rays and stuff like that. So I don't know yet. I'm waiting to hear a response.
That's all I have to know. Thank God.
The detectives tell Courtney that Toby is in the hospital, but alive. Detectives are usually unaware of how a suspect will react to certain information, so it's often safest to open by easing any worries they may have and talking in a non-accusatory manner. This makes the suspect feel more relaxed and more likely to open up.
We just gotten back together. I had broken up with him, and then he came back the last 2 nights, and then started to an argument, and I ended up getting scared, and I think that I overreacted, or not overreacted necessarily, but reacted, and I just didn't know exactly what might happen.
Do you guys work here in Miami, or do you guys have your own business?
I do social media, so I'm an influencer, I guess is what.
Oh yeah?
Close, yes, I'm an influencer.
What do you focus on, like Instagram or social media?
Instagram, LinkedIn.
And what is it that he does?
Stocks and crypto.
Stocks and crypto?
He just has stocks and lots of crypto. We were going to move into a house. So, have an apartment, and then we were like, maybe just move here for a year. And then once we got here, we were like, no, this is dope.
Yeah.
So, we have the dog picked out. It's golden retriever. We're gonna name Mello. So we were gonna get a house so we could have a backyard. Because I have 2 dogs, and then we're gonna have 3. So we're planning on staying here for a while. Sorry.
Once again, you don't have to apologize.
The detectives can tell Courtney is in a vulnerable state, but at the end of the day, they're there to solve a crime. Courtney's being investigated for stabbing Toby, and the only defense she's given so far is that there was an argument and things got out of hand. If Courtney did in fact do what she's being accused of, being forced to think about her past and future with Toby would really be messing with her emotions, causing her to become more vulnerable and hopefully lead to an easy confession.
Let's start from the start. You guys were supposed to take out your dogs to the park, right? And then what happened after that?
Like I said, a little bit of blur. I was doing laundry and tried to call my mom. She didn't answer the first time. And then he left. I guess he went to go bike over there. That's just what he said. I don't know if he walked or biked, but he told me he was going to bike first.
Like a bicycle?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he came back with a Subway sandwich, and I said something about oh, are you gonna reshare your location with me? Did you share it? And he said, yeah, I shared it. And I was like, oh, when did you do that? And he goes, the other day, when you were done with me. And I was like, okay, well, fair enough. Reshare it. And then he told, it kind of like turned into like a little like argument or something. And then he told me to reach your mind, and I was like, okay, yeah, I will. And then I didn't do it immediately. He asked me about it again, and I don't know what I was thinking, but it just said something about, well, what if I'm somewhere you don't want me to be? Which I wouldn't have been. I love him, but maybe you don't want to know where I am. I guess maybe it'll just like hurt him because he was pressing me, and he ended up pinning me against the wall. I said like choking me on the floor. It's just like, they were looking at my neck, and I was like, I'm not saying like choking me like, whatever. But he had my like neck, like and this happened twice before, where I couldn't breathe and I was on the floor. Yeah. I could not breathe, and I don't think that he is trying to kill me, but I was scared, and all 3 times I have been scared. I'm on the floor, and he had me pinned. Get my mom on the phone. So this happened like over by the door, and somehow moved like over in the living room. He was standing by the couch, facing toward the kitchen. I was in the kitchen, and then he just like, I could see like all the whites in his eyes, and he was like coming at me. And so I grabbed one of these knives. My mom got me for Christmas. I grabbed one of them, and I was like, I swear to God, it was just like I grab and be like, don't come anywhere closer to me, because earlier that was happening 2 other times. I couldn't breathe. I'm sorry, I couldn't breathe, and it's very scary. And I just think like, just like this kind of thing where I was saying like, do you know if he's okay? If he's choking me and he's angry enough, he might like, this is different, I think. But if he's like choking me or like pinning me or something and I can't breathe, he might go too long. So I grab my knife, and I said, don't come anywhere closer to me. I had absolutely no intention of using it. I'm on the phone with my mom, and he's coming at me like he's going to grab either the phone or like the knife or something. And so I was just like, I was like, don't come any closer. It's coming at me, and I threw it. And I meant for it to go.
How far away was he?
Well, I was by my fridge, and he was like by the edge of one of the chairs of the sofa. Like
comparing to what
10 feet. I'm trying to think in my head.
To recap, Courtney says that an argument started when the pair had both stopped sharing their phone locations that resulted in him pinning her against the floor and her retaliating by throwing a kitchen knife across the room, piercing him in the chest. Courtney also clearly states that her attack was in self-defense and specifically involved her throwing a knife 10 feet across the apartment that landed perfectly in his chest, causing him to bleed out and fear for his life.
So then, you were by the fridge and he was by the couch?
Yes, I was in front of the fridge. He was by the couch.
Yes, and then
behind my island.
Then what kind of movements did he make? At the moment, he was gonna walk
running
up.
At me.
Running? Okay.
Well, charging, aggressively walking, something.
What was he doing? Like, was he doing something with his hands or?
He had his hands up. I couldn't tell you exactly.
Was he yelling at you at the time?
Yes.
Was that at the moment that he was charging you, or earlier in one of the arguments?
It was before he choked me. Yes, it was before he choked me.
Okay.
Or whatever. But I swear to God, I was scared. After like what I was scared, and I was on the phone with my mom, and it was still happening. Yeah. I was scared.
So you told me that he had you against the wall at one point, right? With his hands over your neck.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you end up from the wall to the ground?
Let me go, and then I started swinging on him because I had been against the wall. Okay. I started trying to hit him. Yeah. And then he put me on the ground.
He dropped you to the ground.
When I'm trying to remember like a whole situation of where I was very upset about something. Yeah. Which I've learned this in therapy and whatever. It's like, write down like all the details so you don't forget. Just like write it all out clearly, so that it makes sense to you and makes sense to somebody else. But I haven't had a chance to have a pen and paper or my phone to like write down exactly what happened, and I haven't really even like fully thought about it. Yeah. So honestly, my answer is I don't remember.
That's fine. Okay. You guys have a history of
Yeah,
You say you've been together how long, sir?
almost 2 years.
Almost 2
Year
years.
and a half to 2 years.
So how many incidents you think you've had?
I don't know, but we shouldn't be together.
Have you made a report before?
No.
You've never made a report?
Oh, I did in Dallas actually about a year ago, and he was detained.
And what happened there?
He had pushed me in the lobby, but it wasn't like a big deal, and they made it a huge deal.
The couple had also been involved in another incident in Las Vegas less than a year earlier. Police were called to their apartment after a loud argument was heard, as well as glasses smashing on the floor and walls. The apartment was trashed when police arrived, and Courtney's story was all over the place.
Why did you call for help?
Because we were getting really loud. We were getting loud. And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna like do damage to the room or something. Not damage to each other. Like I really want to like.
But why would you
highlight
think?
that.
Why would you think that you were gonna do damage to the room?
I like throwing something or like.
Did you throw something?
Did I?
Yeah.
No.
Did anybody throw anything?
No.
So why would you think that there is damage to the room to be made?
Because I've done that before in our house, and I.
What have you done?
Thrown a glass and plate.
Did you throw a glass or a plate to a team today?
No.
Okay. So if
No,
I
this was before.
okay, so when I go to the room and I see a broken glass on the floor, where did the glass come from?
I don't know. I literally couldn't even remember how the fight started.
Okay, well,
Was there?
yeah.
Maybe I did. Well, I'm guessing that I threw a glass, but that sounds like me. So.
Courtney was brought to jail and held for 12 hours overnight, but Toby refused to press charges and advocated heavily for release. This may seem like nothing, but police did conclude that Courtney had attacked him that night by throwing a glass at his head. If nothing else, it proves that Courtney was capable of attacking Toby unprovoked and opens up an entirely new avenue for this investigation. However, it also turns out that police had been in contact with the couple more recently. In fact, they'd actually been called by security to their apartment the day before the attack.
But the cops have been up there one other time yesterday for absolutely no reason. Absolutely none. They harassed, not the police, but security guards from the office, like young security guards.
Okay.
Came up for no reason. Bothered him, bothered me.
The cops were called, however, and captured an entire exchange on body cams, providing a stark contrast to the story that Courtney gave here.
You didn't call.
I didn't. Nobody.
I called. You called.
What?
Okay.
What's going on?
Okay, hold on, man. Let him talk. Okay. Yeah, hold on.
Okay. The front desk personnel, she informed us that Miss Courtney, her boyfriend, was trying to get into the elevator. And she had her hand out like this. And she was like, oh no, don't come inside the elevator.
Okay.
So we asked her, I said, do you want him to leave the property? She said no, she don't want him to.
I did not say that. I said yes.
Hold on.
Courtney, what's going on? What do you need? What?
Yeah, good.
My boyfriend.
All right. So what do you want to see?
I want a restraining order against Christian Obumseli.
We don't issue those.
Because
those
I'm
to
serious.
courts.
Can I do that?
You
Where
have to
can
go
I
to court. You have to go to
Okay, but
downtown.
how can
or
I make
petition.
myself first?
Courtney is obviously extremely panicked in this footage and seems less concerned about any possible that she may have been sustaining and more worried about getting a restraining order before Toby can. It's also important to note that the building's security noticed her pushing Toby out of the elevator and screaming at him and mentioned absolutely no aggression coming from him. As the evidence mounts up, it's starting to get increasingly more likely that Courtney's whole self-defense story might be straying slightly away from the truth. But as is almost always the case in situations like these, everything is still hearsay, and officially debunking her claims is going to be a challenge for the detectives. But after leaving her alone for almost an hour and letting her change clothes, they return to the interrogation room with some more news for her.
So you're living in a nightmare right now,
Yes.
you know?
I will feel so much better once they just say he's stable.
Yeah.
And I've been asking so
and
much.
that's what we're waiting for. Okay.
I mean, I feel like at the end. I mean, if he's not, that's a lot worse for me.
So they've asked for an update, and I asked them for an update as well, so they're checking to see what's going on. Because they're
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I will do with myself if he's not okay.
No matter what.
I mean, I clearly can't be together.
No matter what happens, no matter where this falls, right? It's out of our control.
So we have to inform you that Christian did not make it. Okay. Unfortunately, the doctors did what they could. And
Christian is dead.
Yep.
Oh my God. This is not real, right? Okay. No, there's no way. Christian died? Okay. Can I please have a hug? Am I allowed to do that in here?
Sure. Yeah.
Relax. It's gonna be fine.
No.
Calm down. Calm down. Take deep breaths.
I need to hug my mom. I cannot be left alone in like a room by myself.
You won't be.
After this. No, that's not true. That's not real, right?
It is real.
Christian is dead.
Yes. They're not gonna lie.
The last thing he ate was Subway. What I was saying to that other room, I said, God forbid, when like from far away, what if it had accidentally hit a little bit lower and he died?
So we can't change what's occurred and forget him before. So just step by step. So you'll get through this, all right?
It's easy to tell by the detectives' reactions that they're fairly convinced what happened was indeed self-defense. In fact, one of them was even talking earlier about how he's sure she'd be allowed home that night and that everything was going to be fine. So it obviously wasn't hard for her lawyer to convince them officially that she wasn't guilty and she was let off without any charges. But remember, the detectives weren't aware of any of the evidence mentioned so far. All they know is what Courtney told them. So as time went on, evidence started to mount up, and the Abumseli's case was starting to become stronger and stronger. The body cam videos started to become publicly available, and the true nature of her previous arrests came to light. There were also unflattering videos such as this one showing her drunk in public just days after her release.
Yeah, and they're seeking justice. I think, sir. Yeah, what? Let's all videotape her. Right now, you should go. Yeah, you should go. Justice? You just know her boyfriend. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and He's fighting. Yeah, okay, cool.
Sure, people make mistakes and drink too much. But when you're seen acting like this in public just days after bawling your eyes out in an interrogation room, you don't exactly get painted in the best light. Just days later, footage secretly recorded by Toby was found on his phone displaying Courtney violently screaming at him, using aggressive language, hitting him across the face, and using racial slurs.
You literally talked to her without telling me!
Courtney, I was on a bike ride and she passed me and I said hi. You and Courtney are having a live chat. My bad, I forgot to tell you that. That doesn't make you to act and call me a You're Yes, thank you. Coming from Courtney, thank you.
I want you to get away from me!
So due to this and many other accounts stating that Courtney was well and truly the one, she was officially taken to court by Toby's family. This is where the final nail in the coffin was delivered by a medical examiner who'd observed Toby's body and come to a conclusion.
Now, based on the information you received that the defendant was alleged to have thrown this knife, do your observations support that?
If the person who supposedly did this is an expert knife thrower, and the knife is the type of knife that you can throw, I guess that could have happened.
Did you receive any information that the defendant was a knife thrower?
No.
So based on that fact that you did not receive that information, would it support that?
No.
And what would you expect to see a knife do if someone just flung it at somebody?
It would just hit the body and bounce off.
Now, as a result of this case, did you come to a cause, or did you make a determination as to the cause and manner of death?
Yes.
Could you please explain those to the court?
The cause of death was stab wound of right subclavian artery. The manner of death was homicide.
As of April 2023, Courtney is currently awaiting what's become one of the most anticipated trials in modern history. She faces life in prison on account of second-degree murder with all of the evidence stacked against her. It's not looking good for her as we prepare to see if she'll be spending the rest of her life behind bars.